Well, hello there. Welcome to Hanging with the Hags. Well, I need to do a quick video and do an update on our experiences of taking our Alliance to the factory in Elkhart, Indiana. I'm a little late as we're in Ohio right now, getting ready to head to West Virginia, but I got to get this video done just to share our experiences. So we have a 2023 Alliance Paradigm 382 RK. That's the rear kitchen. And when we got back from year 2 of traveling full-time, I noticed that we had some sidewall cracking on a few of our slides. And so we bought the RV from Tacoma RV in Tacoma, Washington. So I brought it into them, let them look at it. And on the phone, it was, yeah, bring it in. We can do that repair in most cases. Otherwise, we can contact the factory. And then we started doing some looking online on some of the social media posts about people bringing their rig to the factory in Indiana and how pleased they were with the service that they got from Alliance in Indiana on some of these warranty repairs. And so part of Vicki and I were like, well, I mean, we're heading east anyways. It would be kind of nice to have the opportunity to do that. But let's play the game, bring it into Tacoma and let them check it out. Well, of course, we have full body paint on here. And so as soon as they discovered that, they're like, well, we can do the crack repair, but we're not matching paint colors. So do you want to go to the factory? And of course, that was what we ultimately wanted anyway. So we said, yes, let's do that. So then it was passed to Alliance. We had scheduled, I think, with Brittany originally for a September 15th drop-off. And our plan, it was a planned 2-week drop-off. We were going to drop it off, hang out in Michigan and then in Wisconsin where we have some family, and then swing back through and then head up to the Northeast for the fall colors. Well, about the week before we got to the factory, they called us and confirmed our appointment and said, you better expect 3 weeks. And so we said, okay, well, we don't want to have to rush through the Northeast, so we're just going to skip that this year. And then we have these other parks planned in Ohio, West Virginia, and Indiana too. And so wasn't a big deal. So we put it into the factory. Sean was the guy that did the original inspection going in. And we actually had 2 warranty claims. The one was the sidewall cracks, of course. And then the other warranty is the front door. I had a hinge that was essentially eating itself, and I couldn't keep it lubed. It was metal on metal. Every time you open the door, it was this shrieking noise. And so those were the 2 claims that we were there for. Of course, when we got there, you know, he said, well, how do you like your Paradigm? And we're like, we love our Paradigm. This is the best rig I've ever seen. And we've traveled. This is the start of our 3rd year of traveling full time. We live in it full time, and we feel like it's really held up well. But there's always things that go wrong with it. There's always things that could be fixed a little better. So he kind of opened the door a little bit for that. So then I went through my list of things, and those included the roof was the big one for me. They had staples underneath the PVC membrane on both sides. They must have stapled the upper sheeting down or something. Well, those staples were lifting the membrane about 1/4 of an inch. And again, that was something that Tacoma RV looked at, and they said, well, Alliance said that if the staples aren't penetrating through the PVC, they're not going to warranty that. So I said, okay, well, they're not poking through, there's no leaks, so not worry about it. So we get there, I tell Sean about the staples. He's like, yep, okay, got it. Inside we had a ceiling panel that had cracked in the kitchen where we had our vent, our fantastic fan vent. There was a crack there on the ceiling tile. Again, that was a warranty claim with Tacoma RV, and they said, well, Alliance isn't going to warranty that. But what's funny is about a month and a half later, when Alliance did warranty the window latch, and I was getting that shipped mid-trip to Miami, she said, well, it's going to have to go to an RV dealer. And I'm like, why would the window latch that I'm going to put on have to go to an RV dealer? And she's like, well, it says it's coming in an 8-foot crate. And I'm like, an 8-foot crate? It's a window latch. It should be like 3 inches long. And she's like, oh no, you're getting an 8-foot ceiling panel. And I'm like, I thought that wasn't approved by Alliance. And so anyways, I said, well, don't ship the ceiling panel because I'm not going to do that in mid-trip. So we put that on hold. I told Sean about that. We also, on the interior wall of our slide, we had a crack, and originally we felt like it was just the wallpaper had kind of gapped over a little bit, but it was behind the trim. It wasn't really noticeable unless the slide was in. Over time, that had cracked about 8 inches up the wall. So we let Sean know about that. And then I had on the belt line out here on the back, I had a screw that just literally the head popped off. So that was interesting. And then I did have some rear wall separation. This again, very documented on all the Alliance pages and social media, that those back walls on some of the earlier models aren't necessarily attached very well. And so what was happening is I was having some buckling of the side panel. Almost looked like you backed into something and then kind of squished it just a little bit. Very slight buckling. And that's one of the tells that you have some rear wall separation. And so I told him about that as well. I think those were the only items. Oh, we had 2 windows that, you know, the latches, the springy part of the latches weren't working. So when you went to raise them, they would fall. And yeah, so I think that was it. So then we didn't hear anything from Alliance, and then 2.5 weeks in, I messaged them, emailed them, and said, hey, we're closing in on the 3rd week, just wanted to verify where we were. And she said, yep, it'll be ready on Friday at the end of that week. So essentially the 3rd week it was going to be ready. So we weren't going to get down there on Friday. So we said, well, what about Monday? And they said, well, they only do receiving on Monday. So they pushed us to Tuesday. And then Vicky had a very smart idea. She was like, you know what? I heard that they have some RV sites at the factory. Let's get a couple of days at the factory post pickup to do some cleaning, thinking that it might be a little dirty inside from people coming in and out. And boy, was that a winner idea, because it was free camping, not full hookups. We had power and water, no sewer, but there was a sewer on site. So not a big deal. We were there 2 nights. We got to do all of the cleaning of the RV, which ended up being way more work than what I was thinking it was going to be. I feel like of the 4 slides, I think 3 of the slides were completely removed from the RV during the repairs. So you figure now your RV is completely open and they're cutting and grinding. And hey, there's Vicky. We gotta say hi. She's got slides in ready to go, and I'm out here chatting us up. But we got to get this done. So that was a good idea. So we picked it up at the factory. We drove around back behind building 4. They're building building 5 in the back. So we're kind of in the middle of everything. There's 5 parking spots there. We got to stay there. We got to spend 2.5 days cleaning the RV and getting it all topped off and ready to go. And that was a lifesaver. It was great. So on pickup, you know, you give him this list of things that weren't necessarily warranty items, but things that he kind of asked to open the door, and so you didn't really know what to expect, what we're going to get done and what wasn't going to get done. So we pick it up, and he's like, okay. We pulled the door, we replaced the hinge, the door's back on, it's functioning now. And then he's like, the corners on the slide boxes, he says we fixed all of those corners. So we had to remove the slide boxes in a lot of cases, and then we put them back on, readjusted them. He said that they re-welded some of the areas where the welds had broke on the aluminum, but then in addition had put in additional L support brackets on each of those slide boxes, so you're not going to have any of that flexing anymore. And then he went on to say that he completed all of the other things on our list. So the interior ceiling panel, the crack on the inside, you can't even tell that that was ever done. It's like it's brand new. The roof, which was a big concern, they peeled back the entire side of the entire roof, 41.5 feet long. They peeled that back from the sides. They removed all the staples. They re-screwed everything and then put the membrane down and then resealed everything. The rear wall, it was removed, and they used 4-inch lag bolts to secure the rear wall. So they didn't replace the side panelings that have just some slight buckling, but they did kind of smooth out the buckling and then reassemble it. He says you won't have a problem with that anymore. He pulled the front cap. So with this RV model, he said that they have had some issues with some of the structural supports behind the front cap. So as a precautionary, while it's here, let's just remove the front cap and make sure everything in there is all good to go. So the front cap was removed. That was completely sealed all around it, sealed on the top, as well as a myriad of other things. The screw on the back there, that was put back in. And so I guess the bottom line is we've been extremely happy with the ability to be able to go to Alliance and get the warranty work done there. It was definitely worth our time to go there, and the staff, Brittany giving us the site for a couple of nights, and Sean just made the trip worthwhile for us. So anyways, that's a recap on all of that stuff. And like I said, we're currently in Ohio, getting ready to go to West Virginia today. And we're going to be staying in the town of Beckley, West Virginia. Anyways, we got to get on the road. She's got all the slides in already. I just got to get this thing hooked up. Oh, actually, she backs the truck up. Anyways, we're going to get on the road. Thanks for watching. Comment below if you've been to the factory and what your experiences were. And yabba dabba doo, we'll be at a campsite near you.